We're now doing an 11,983 mile review on this Rivian R1T. Now, this isn't going to be your normal review. I am a business owner. I own a real estate media company, and well, I use it every single day for my business. I also use it for my personal use, so taxes, don't worry about that, IRS. Since I have picked it up on July 1st, I believe it was, that's a whole story on its own, which I will get into in just a little bit. I have put on over 11,000 miles, and that's a lot of miles. That's a whole lot of miles. It's not all highway miles either, or city driving. I've been going out to the mountains, gone camping in it several times, gone to an off-road park, Tahuya, Washington. Some people were like, well, you did the easy trails. I'm like, yeah, probably did. I don't want to destroy a $90,000 vehicle. While we're out here at Capitol Forest, I'm going to go find some mud puddles, but I'm going to go over a little bit difference in trials and tribulations that I have had with this Rivian. I may ease your mind, but more than likely, I am going to confirm your worries about EVs and potentially Rivian. Do I want to sway you from it? No. So too long, do not read. Will I buy this again? Yes. Should you buy it? I don't know. Let's go for a ride. I see a spot over there that I really want to go to that has a really awesome view that I can get with my drone. I just have never been to that location here at Capitol Forest, and I don't know why I'm just now seeing it. So I'm going to look up on X. It's not sponsored or anything, but we're going to load it and try to figure out where that spot is, because I know I have this map downloaded several times. So let's start from the beginning. Maybe if I put it into drive, it would actually go. Let's start from the beginning. I went and ordered my Rivian R1T at the end of June 2023. My thought process behind that is that I was going to get the Rivian in maybe 2 years. I wasn't really too picky, and so I knew that they actually had some access and some availability in the shop, but I didn't have complete access to the shop. Weird, right? What ended up happening was I had access, but then I really wanted to go see what the R1S would be like if they had any in the shop. They did not. So once I switched back to an R1T, because you had to change your reservation, I lost access to the shop. So I kept trying to get back into the shop, and it took about 2 weeks for me to get back into the shop. But once I actually had access into it, I found a silver R1T, this exact one that I have right now. It said 1 to 8 weeks that it would be available for me. I was like, oh, that sounds amazing. Let me go ahead and click it. So I wasn't expecting anything. Stop the vehicle for this one. So when I tell you, I got assigned a guide. I picked it on Wednesday night. Thursday, got assigned a guide, and we filled out all the paperwork that we needed to do. She was like, cool, do you want to pick it up on Saturday? I'm like, excuse me, did you just say Saturday? Sure, why not? Let's go pick this $91,000 vehicle up on Saturday. That evening, Bellevue called up and was all like, hey, come pick it up tomorrow. I'm like, okay, whatever you say. So that was a tricky part right there, because I get to Bellevue, look at the vehicle. Vehicle's all charged and everything, but there was a problem with my trade-in. My trade-in, the paperwork, for whatever reason, had the wrong VIN. And so in Washington State, they cannot do a purchase order the same day that they deliver the vehicle. It's a stupid rule with Washington State dealerships that they made. Tesla got governed in, but you can't sell directly to a customer or something stupid. The Rivian spokesperson came actually to the Seattle store, hangout. I forgot what the place is called. Explained it to us that, you know, if you get a purchase order, and you can't even test drive in Washington State. So I honestly bought a car unseen. As in, I really just used the YouTube reviews to see how I would like this vehicle. So I had to come back the next day. But that's okay. Coming back the next day wasn't a big deal. But it was. Hit my vehicle. And that's whenever the first issue actually started, because I was testing out the speakers. Now, the sound system in this thing sounds pretty amazing. I actually am pretty happy with it. Some audiophiles will be like, you know, it shouldn't sound like that. It should sound better. If I'm paying this much for a vehicle, I'm like, yeah, no, I can listen to Tyga, I can listen to The Weeknd, and have some maximum bass going, and I'm pretty happy. But that was my first issue. Why is the camera all the way over there? Get back over here. That is what my first issue was my speaker. So what happened was what I thought was the seat was causing a vibration whenever I listened to a certain song, a certain couple of songs, because it would make a squeaking noise. I think I have a video of it, and I'll play it here for you guys. If you guys ever get a chance to come down to Capitol Forest here in Olympia, Washington, I highly recommend it. It is such a beautiful place. You can come down here and just enjoy the forest roads, get out in nature a little bit. You'll get some deer, some grouse that go around. Sometimes they say they have bears and cougars out here too. I tried to ask for the last cougar's number and she denied me. She just kept running off into the woods. That's besides the point. But you can also come out here and picnic. You can camp. You can do four-wheeling, actually ATVs and stuff like that. But you can also come out here and shoot if that's what you want to partake in. I've actually never been down this way, so we're going to go look right now. Oh no, pinstriping, help me, baby Jesus. So yeah, that was one of the small minor issues that I had to deal with in the beginning. Besides, well actually, one of the small inconveniences was the key fob. And what do I mean by the key fob? It was already out of battery. Like I just got it and it told me that it was low on battery. I'm like, hold up, I just bought this. How is it already low on battery? So I kind of understand why, because this thing is a little bit sensitive. So if you get too close to your car will unlock. If you get away from your car will lock. So that means it is constantly like transmitting, trying to figure out what's going on. Like, should I lock? Should I unlock? And if you're having your car parked in your garage, you probably might be hearing some chirping going on and off about your car locking and unlocking. You're like, oh man. But to come from the factory with a dead battery, that's kind of sketch. I don't know. And then some people actually made, the service people send them one. For me, let me hold on, let me get close to this. They wanted to make a mobile service ticket for someone to come out in 3 months to come and drop me off a battery. But during that call, the guy was like, okay, once we set that up, we will send the battery to Bellevue and you got to come pick it up. I'm like, but you're sending a service person out. They're like, yes, but you got to come pick up the battery first so that he can install it into your key fob whenever you get it. I'm like, am I hearing this correctly? He was like, what are you not understanding? You got to have the battery for him to install. I'm like, just send me the battery. That's it. That's all you got to do. Now, this is just me being petty. This is me saying, hey, I shouldn't have to deal with this. So was I messing with the guy? Yeah, pretty much. I was just letting it go on, and I'm like, I get it. They hire just random people who might not be fully trained on their customer service side. And that's okay. But 99% of the people who I have interacted with, besides maybe that one person, has been very knowledgeable about the Rivian. Now, do they work at Rivian, like at the normal factory? No, I don't think so. I think a lot of these people are mobile people, like work from home type of people. Have they ever touched a Rivian? I have no idea. But that is the one positive thing about Rivian, is that once you put in your app that you have a problem, they will contact you. Even though it's weird when they contact me sometimes 7 to 8 o'clock at night. And I'm like, why are we calling so late? To set up an appointment for you to go get it fixed. But that's another issue. Came out with a list of issues, like my seat was rattling. We couldn't really figure out what it was. Once I actually got it fixed, they were saying that it was misaligned whenever it was installed, which that could be a safety issue on its own. Am I right? Going on a little walk right now. I am sore from the gym, and this is actually a really slippery area right now, and I don't have my hiking boots on. But Capitol Forest is just so beautiful. And the vibration that I was hearing in my, what I thought was a seat, was something loose in my door that was causing it. I actually helped out the service guy by handing him the song so that he can test out other vehicles whenever that kind of issue shows up. But then alignment, I knocked my truck out of alignment, and it was getting bad to where lane assist was like, shit, I don't know what I'm doing right now. But it handled it pretty well. But I was almost at like a 2 o'clock position to keep the car straight, and that was not good. So, but the only people who could get it fixed was Rivian itself. No other place wanted to touch it. The only other people who will actually work on this vehicle is Discount Tire, and they will only do the tire rotation for you, which is fine and dandy. We had a lack of service centers, and so that pushed a lot of the things that were wrong with my vehicle off until almost February, and I tried to make the appointment in September because the Bellevue service center got way too busy. I almost slipped and busted my ass. That would have been great for the camera. So that was problematic. But what really made me angry is my tailgate started messing up, and I'm not sure why. One side of the latches would not latch. It made a buzzing noise like it's not latching, something is wrong. And then finally the other side stopped latching, and I had to slam it shut in order to keep it shut. I drove all the way from Gig Harbor, Washington, all the way up to Darrington with my tailgate open because I couldn't get it shut. I was going out camping, and then finally, it did it once before, and it was because of a bouncy road, I was able to get it to shut again. And so I tried it again, and I managed to get it shut. And I shouldn't have to do that. A mobile tech could have been able to come out and checked it, but for whatever reason, the people who I was calling wasn't sending out a mobile tech. So they ended up setting me up with a list of like 7 things that I had wrong with the vehicle to go down to Portland. That was the nearest, the closest service center with availability within 2 months. And so I didn't get that until the end of September for the middle of November to go down to Portland. Well, fast forward to that, the tailgate, after they fix it, first off, service center people, wonderful people. They hooked me up with a rental car. It was a Infiniti Q60 or something like that. I used to think Infinitis were quite nice, and then after driving it, I was like, it was okay. But I like my Rivian interior a lot better than I do, you know, in an Infiniti. But come to find out, the tailgate, for whatever reason, they were, I believe what they said, the hinges or the hooks were put on too tight. So they had to readjust them. And so now it works perfectly. Put in the description below every single thing that was wrong with the Rivian and what they did to fix it. So then that way you can look at it and see if that is a make or break situation for you. But enough about the negative side. Let's talk about how much I love this thing. It's amazing. And it's actually ruined vehicles for me for life. I kind of want to show my little key fob holder. It's kind of cool. It's leather. Got a little bit of gold accent to it and everything. But I got it from Best EV Mod. Best EV Mod is an Amazon store directly. They don't have like a website yet, but that's okay. But I even got something like this. Can we even see this right now? It's a cup holder. It's not a cup holder, but it's for here. So sometimes I like to either, it's not really my keys that I put there, but if I need to put my phone somewhere to where I need a holder, without the holder, it would just fall through. But right now, it's good. So that's a little bit of a game changer for me. There's a few little things in this car that's quirky, and you know, a lot of people have gone over it, but there's no make or break in here for me besides one thing that locked up my vehicle, and you may wonder what that is. Well, there was an over-the-air update, and I think it was the beginning of November because I was coming back from Vegas from my real estate conference, and I was one of the They send out the updates in brackets, like little buckets of who gets the update first. Everybody wanted the Halloween update because we all got the Wicked Witch and spooky music and everything. So I was excited for the next update. And I'm typically in the 3rd or 4th bucket, but for whatever reason, I was in the 1st bucket this time. Hindsight is 20/20. Well, the update halfway through, when a lot of people started updating it, on Sunday, I had it, and the problem was they noticed that they sent it with the wrong security ticket or something was actually, Jesus, what am I running over right now? That was a stick. What ended up happening was they sent the wrong security ticket with it or something with the security. And so they stopped it. But the only problem was, like a lot of us, I don't want to say a majority of us, it was like ended up being like 3% of the Rivian owners ended up downloading it, and it stopped at 90%. You know how they always warn you, like, hey, do not turn off your vehicle or disconnect your internet while updating this on like video games or computer updates or cell phone updates, right? Well, don't do this with a car. Don't do this with a car at all, because it completely messed up our entire system. This vehicle, I had no screens. I had no screens at all. I wasn't able to control the HVAC system. Luckily, it wasn't too cold yet here in Washington State, so I really didn't need the heat too much. I was able to control it with my app, but not while I was in the car. So it was a hit or miss if it would actually stay on. I did manage to turn on the heated seats, which was kind of nice. But the only thing that was on the dash that I was able to see and use was the speedometer. And that's kind of an issue because there is no buttons in this car. There is no, it's all, here, hold up. It's all screen. That's all it is. Now, this screen is awesome. This came in like the October update or September update. They redid all of this. And so this is amazing. That's one thing I love about over-the-air updates. They can actually do better with everything that they do, like have, and make it even better. This is just your normal stuff over here. But this all changed. You can actually see which way your tires are rotating. It really helps whenever you're going over obstacles. Your compass, how high you are, pitch and roll, your tire pressure. If I drive, you'll be able to see it a little bit more. And also your motors. This update screwed over a lot of people. And some actually got bricked. Like they actually had to get towed to the service center in order for it to get fixed. It was a very small amount, like maybe a handful, like 5 people. But there were some people who could not get their thing to update. It took them about 3 days to actually update the new version because the version 1 messed us up. They sent us out the version 2.0, and I think they resent out the version 1.0 to everybody else. So while I'm on the version 2.0, a lot of people are on the version 1.0, but 3 days of a vehicle that just reminded me of my 92 Ford Tempo that I had in high school. Nothing worked at all. I just saw a grouse fly. That's one nice thing about this vehicle too. You can roll up on animals and they don't really hear you. You might hear the tires and everything, but it's not like a big diesel vehicle to where you hear a bunch of things. So if you're hunting, sorry vegans. But I will tell you, that is one thing that actually has wavered my stance versus EV vehicles. If a single update can deadline an entire fleet, potentially, if they didn't catch it in time. Now listen, they did catch it, not in time, but in time enough to where not everyone got completely screwed. I didn't have another vehicle. What if I would have been completely locked out of it? And hold up here, you guys have got to look at this. Oh my goodness. Like I say, I just love Capitol Forest. It gets you up here in the hills, but so Capitol Forest is actually a working forest. If you look straight ahead right here, there's actually like 3 or 4 year old trees right there. But the timber companies come, if you can see up there, there's a small little vehicle. Timber companies come in here and they cut down the trees like over here or even right in front of me. And then they replant new ones. So then there's constantly more trees being grown. So every year they come down, throw down a section. But then now they'll keep growing and growing and growing. And so then in 50 years from now, they can cut down full, I want to say mature trees, but good enough trees to provide the nation or the world with some wood. Now, that's awesome. Now, this isn't just the only place in Washington State. They do it at a lot of different places in Washington State. But I feel kind of bad. That first section to where you saw me talking at the beginning of this video had some of the most beautiful trees in the world. And they cut them down. And it was kind of sad. But I understand we do have a need for trees. But yeah, that's just a little bit about Capitol Forest. So sometimes these trails are shut down to where you can't go because there's logging trucks that come in and out of here. So my next thing was, do I or should I buy a vehicle that doesn't have this issue? But then more and more vehicles are starting to get over-the-air updates. My Kia EV6, of course, that's an EV. It had those. My Kia Sportage had it. Even my Chevy Silverado that I had for a quick minute had over-the-air updates. I do actually believe my Subaru Outback did too. I am a car whore, in case you haven't noticed. I go through a lot of cars, and so everybody has been taking bets on how long I will keep this vehicle. And I will tell you, it was getting close. Like, I was looking at a Land Rover Defender, and I was all like, can I make this work? But we know Land Rover's reliability. Should I make this work? Do I have enough money for the Land Rover? Yes, I have enough money for the Land Rover, but do I have enough money for a Rivian and a Land Rover? The answer is yes, but should I or no? No, it's not smart. I should be buying appreciating assets, not depreciating liabilities. Is that right? This is where I like to come out shooting. It's a nice gravel pit for us to just, have a nice range day without really ever being bothered. But it worried me. It honestly did worry me because I use this vehicle to take care of my grandma. And people are like, well, you can get you a different vehicle and take care of your grandma at the same time. I'm like, yes, but it wouldn't be a full package the way that this one is. And what do you mean by a full package? And let me go ahead and explain that to you. To me, this vehicle is a full package. The suspension can adjust. That's one of the biggest things. The suspension can adjust to the height that you see it right now, which is 14.9 inches. You're like, shut up, Dom. That's in the brochure. But like, listen, it's very important to me. This is why I do it. But it also drops. It also drops to where it gets low enough and have kneel mode to where I can get my grandma in it. She's 77 years old. She has a bad heart and she has a tough time getting around. Could I do it with a car? Would it be a little bit easier with her in a car? Yes. But I still want a vehicle that's an all-around vehicle. And what do I mean by that? I like to go off into forest roads. I like to go camping. So having a vehicle that I can go off and do those kind of things and not worry about the elements like snow and everything like I did with my Forerunner. I had a 2017 TRD Pro white. I named her Betty White, but I supercharged her. I had rock sliders. I had a 3-inch lift on it and some really nice Falcons. Well, you know, Falcon Wild Peaks. I don't know why anyone else in the Pacific Northwest will go with KO2s when they can just get Falcons. But that's besides the point. You see, I love that vehicle, but one, my grandma can't get into it, and that's whenever I sold it because she was moving in with me. In 2021, I bought a house, and she was declining in health, and so then that's when I needed to take her from place to place, doctor's appointments and everything, to the store and all these other things. I sold my Forerunner so I could do that. Plus buying the house, it was fine. I could buy it in Outback. That's besides the point. We're not getting into that. But the Forerunner was great. It was probably one of my most favorite vehicles. It's tied as #1 with this vehicle. But once I got back onto the road, it was very rough. It had no power, even with the supercharger. And overall, I mean, besides that, it was fine. But every single time that I would come home from an adventure, I'd get angry because I'm like, oh, God, I hate how bouncy this is. Yeah, it's a truck. Why are you complaining about how bouncy a truck is? Because I wanted something comfortable. My body hurts. I was in the military for like 8.5 years. You're like, that's not that long. But I broke myself several times. They medically kicked me out. So, yeah. I need some creature comforts. Now that being said, could a standard SUV work? Like a smaller SUV, like a Kia Sportage that I have had, it worked. Yeah, I paid that thing off in less than a year. That thing was amazing, but I hated the paint job in it. But I also bought a Toyota Supra during that time so I can have some kind of speed. This thing is 835 horsepower. 835 horsepower. I don't think you're grasping that I have an 11-second, well, like 11.7 or 11.5 vehicle truck with all terrains on it, factory, under $100,000. If I was to get a vehicle that had that much horsepower and that fast, I would have to be aiming for 150 or more, or buy a $50,000 vehicle and put a bunch of vehicle, money into it, or have a clapped out Civic with, $500 worth of work, and then I can have an 11. But I couldn't use it for my business. That's what I'm trying to get at right now. It has kind of ruined other vehicles for me. Like, I loved my Supra. Could I get another Supra? Yes. Would I be excited to drive it the way that I'm excited to drive this? No. It would be slow. The noises would be nice. I could put the noises on a speaker if I wanted. Let's talk about another thing with my business. I am a real estate photographer. I own a real estate media company. The reason why I say it that way, I have several photographers who work for me, a team of editors, all this other stuff. But I am still the main one who goes out and does a lot of the photography and everything. I was going through so much gas, and when gas was pushing almost $5 a gallon, I was going every 2-3 days, $100 here and there. That sucks. So in a week, I was spending almost $300, $400 on gas. Even whenever I got the Kia Sportage, I was still doing like $250 of gas. And that adds up. And people are like, but your electricity bill is about to go up. Yes, but not as much as how much gas cost me. I did the math. Even over the summer, compared to last year, even with my air conditioning going the entire time, I'm only spending $100 to $150 extra a month, depending on how much I drive, in charging at my house. Now, charging out in the wild, I don't know yet because I still have Electrify America credits from my 2 EV6s that I bought. Like I said, I'm a car whore. Don't judge me. But it's actually saving me money. It costs me more in how much I pay for it a month, but it's saving me money. And there's a lot less things to break down. You know, a lot of it's covered under warranty. The one thing that it will go through that's not covered under warranty is tires. That's okay. If you rotate them every 8 to 10,000 miles and don't stay on conserve mode the entire time, we have different drive modes in this thing. I'm not going to get into that nitty gritty with you because you can find another reviewer who can tell you all about this vehicle. Like, it's in and out. I'm not inept, but I don't know the words that I'm looking for. I got some words, not all the words. But again, the interior is really nice. The accessories are finally coming together. Actually, let me show you the camp kitchen. So this is the gear tunnel. Like I said, I wasn't going to go through and show everything, but this is my camp kitchen right here. Let's pull this out. Comes all the way out here. We fold this out like that and fold this out like this. So that's a little storage bin inside of here. But this is the burner, okay? It's a dual induction top burner. They get hot so fast, so fast. It has been out into the rain a few times and it has kept up. Like, there's no warping, there's no crazy things going on with it right now. It came with these bags that we use for storage for plates and everything like that. And then it also comes with a little sink area right here, so you can do all your your dishes and everything like that. You can put a jug of water in there. I still use that for all my accessories, cleaning supplies, or anything else that I need, like even a coffee pot or an extension cord. But I did add a cutting board. They said that in the future they will be getting like a cutting board insert, I think, for right here. But for right now, I bought this on Amazon. I bought like 5 of these for like $10. And this is a cookie sheet that I put on top of here in case this is still a little bit warm to the touch. I am able to close this. You know, it's not hot to the touch, but this is Thunderbolt Adventure Supply. Good company, great customer service. They're out of California. They even make a bed for the Rivian R1S. And that's actually really awesome. It's a drawer system, camp kitchen, I think a sleeping platform also. Do I like it? Yes, I love it. Well, would I buy it again? No. For me, storage is key. And losing the gear tunnel to a kitchen, while it may be nice to have an induction top at any moment, I lose that entire gear tunnel. Now, I could take out the sink and I could take out that extra box and be able to put in the things that I want. I like to put my bug out bag in the middle so that I can easily reach it through the back seat, but I can't now. But I also like cooking over a campfire with my cast iron. That's one nice thing about induction tops. You can cook with cast iron on an induction top. You can't do it with, I think it's copper pans, and you can't do it with aluminum pans, but they have to be induction ready for you to cook on top of them. I learned that my first camping trip. Luckily, another Rivian owner during my first camping trip had one. I can do with either over the fire or having my Coleman burning stove. I have a $40 Coleman stove that I've had for the past, I don't know, 10, 15 years, and it still works. I kind of miss my gear tunnel. Am I going to sell it right now? No. I'm going to keep it. It's mine. But like I say, would I buy it again? Probably not. Is it a great product? Yes, it is. Is it for someone? Yes, it is. Is it for me? I mean, it's mine now, so I guess it is for me. But I probably should have looked more into that before I bought it. But that's one thing we can also talk about too. Speaking about other Rivian owners, let's talk about the Rivian community and overall acceptance into, say, the Overland or off-roading community in general. The Rivian community has been probably one of the best automotive communities that I have been a part of ever. A lot of them are here to talk about future tech, talk about the Rivian, hang out with other people with Rivians, overall be great people, really awesome people. By the way, I love this right here. They're very helpful whenever, you know, certain issues arises to where they need to do a hard reset or a soft reset, which is kind of cool for this vehicle. You could do that with this. But I've been on several trips with Emerald City Rivian Club. Great people. Great people. Like David, amazing. There's a few people out there who actually help with going off-road, teaching people how to do off-road stuff with this vehicle. I actually got nicknamed Death Wish Dom whenever I was going through Tahuya to show people different lines that they can do, or just anything. Just because I was used to it in my Forerunner or my Tacoma, I was able to do that. I didn't realize that not everyone was comfortable enough to do that. So they call me Death Wish Dom now. That's besides the point. But let's kind of talk about the overall acceptance in the Overland community. Now, Overlanding has been in a transition lately. There's been a lot of people that are like, all you're doing is car camping. You're not out there exploring. You're not out in the middle of Africa, staying out for several times a day. Most of us are going off into forest roads, maintained roads, some BLM land, and calling that overlanding. Could that be called overlanding? Yes, depending on how you want to say your definition of overlanding is. To some, doing these roads is nothing. You have to be rock crawling in order to do it. So in some people's mind, overlanding is a combination of rock crawling, camping, and forest roads. And if you're not doing anything tricky, you're not really overlanding. And so during that transition, that's when Rivian started coming out. My mic. So my mic has a, what do you call that? It has my mic has a magnet on the back of it, and somehow, some way, I must have hit it too hard. I am recording this on a DJI Osmo Mobile 3. Not mobile. Osmo Action Cam? Oh, mobile Osmo Pocket 3. While I do have a full setup of gear right back there, I decided I want to see if I'm able to produce vlog-like content with this camera. And so far, it's working. I've been on a little bit of a fitness journey since May, and my body is sore right now. I did 2 days in a row and hour sessions with a personal trainer, and I just hurt. But again, with my grandma's health concerns, I questioned her one night while we were in the hospital. Like, why didn't you take care of yourself when you were younger? You had a chance. You knew something was wrong, and yet you didn't take the chance to help yourself because now you're hurting. And I had the epiphany right there. Why didn't I take care of myself now? Why am I not taking care of myself now? I'm overweight. I'm obese. I mean, by the scales and everything, I'm morbidly obese. That means I could die because I'm fat. And I don't want that. So, since May, I've hired a personal trainer, and it's been going good. I've been losing fat, but I've been gaining muscle. So the scale's staying the same, but my clothes is fitting a little bit looser. And so that's a positive, and I can do a lot more things now. But today I'm a little bit sore. But let's go look for some mud. Once I started posting on Reddit, or even the Facebook groups, about having an EV. I've been a part of these groups for a long time, like the Overland/R Overlanding, or R/Overlanding, whichever it's called, or the off-road groups on Facebook, like Overlanding USA, Rigs and Adventure. I've been posting there for a while. Like, before I used to have my Kia that I went out once. Actually, it was right up here, and it had the approach angle of a potato. And ever since then, I'm never going to bring out a Kia off-road ever again. Some people might do it, not for me. But I'm a photographer first, and I take some decent photos of my vehicles. And so a lot of people, oh man, I really enjoy your photography. This is amazing. But once I started posting to Overlanding on Reddit, some people are like, God, when will these ads stop? I'm like, ads? I'm not getting paid for this. Like, what are you talking about, ads? Oh, hold up. I don't know if we can zoom in enough. Hold up, let me take it off this. If we can zoom in enough. Okay, it only goes to 2.0. But out there is SATSOP. It was a nuclear power plant that never actually came to be. Something I think they were worried about it not being built up to code, or it ran out of money or something, but they have two of the steam towers right there. That's not part of it, but they never actually activated the nuclear site here in SATSOP. Funny. But they were saying my photography was too good, and that I was a paid actor or a paid marketer and I feel like it started off as trolling, and then people just started saying more and more stuff about it. And the admin actually had to get into it and delete a lot of comments because my stuff was just getting marked down for no reason. And smarter people in the group, or people who weren't trolling, actually went to my profile and actually found my photography from before. It was all like, oh, okay, yeah, no, this guy's an actual professional photographer. No wonder why his stuff is actually really good. And I appreciate that. And I also appreciate people saying that, hey, it's a ad. It boosts up my ego just a little bit. There's a lot of worry in the Overland community. What if you break something out here in the EV, or what if you run out of battery? And to argue with that, a lot of people could say, what if you run out of gas in the middle of nowhere and you ain't got no gas with you? You're going to be hiking a long way back. They're like, well, I would bring jerry cans with me or something like that. Technically, I could do something similar with a battery pack, like an Anchor or some Jackery or something like that. I could do that, and it would take a while, and I would have to have a 3800 in order to even get 15 miles out of it. If I was stuck out in an emergency situation to where I needed to get power to my vehicle, and I had my solar panels with me, which I don't have them right now, and I don't even have my battery backup with me right now, I would be okay. It would just take me a couple days to even get 30 miles out of it. That's not okay for some people. What if you're injured? What if this? And I understand that. Is this meant for a multiple day trip out in the wild? Where is the wild, though, in the United States? Alaska? Yes. Someplace in the middle of the desert in Texas? Yes, maybe. But most of the time, you're somewhere to where you will have some kind of facility to maybe plug in somewhere. Now, no. Yes and no. Charging infrastructure here in the United States is kind of shoddy. Sometimes, like Electrify America, it's a running joke that their stuff never works. It's never running when it needs to be, especially whenever you drive up to it. And if there's 4 chargers and 4 people are charging for an entire hour, you have to wait until they're done, or to whatever percentage they need to get to in order for you to get there, for you to charge for an hour. So you could potentially be waiting 2, 3, 4 hours, especially in destination towns like Leavenworth or, Aspen or something, to charge your vehicle. You can't just go to one of those little hole-in-the-wall, like random action movie gas stations that are out there with nothing around it besides maybe a manufactured home to get gas. You just can't. The thing you can do that, gasoline, diesel vehicles can't do is go to an RV park and plug in there. Now, there are some corporate RV parks to where you can't go plug in your EV because they don't understand how to charge for it. And so it's costing them a little bit of extra money to allow you to charge. This vehicle is great for 1-day adventures, maybe 2 or 3-day adventures if you aren't driving around a whole bunch, or you know how to conserve your battery, and or maybe even have some solar panels that can drip you some charge. Going downhill, you're able to regen some battery, but that ping that you heard just a few seconds ago was saying that my regen is lessened because maybe the battery... Alexa, I'm not talking to you. Alexa and I fight all the time too. She's still listening. No, she's not. Okay. Yeah. But is it capable of doing a lot of things that other vehicles are out there? Yes. It can. It all depends really on the driver and his or hers they's willingness to actually go out and do things with their $70,000, $90,000, $100,000 vehicle. Am I willing to go rock crawling with this just so I can hype up some dudes? No. Do I want to do it just to see if I can do it? Yes. Will I regret it if I break something? Maybe. But that being said, I'm actually going to be launching a brand in the coming future, like by next year, on January 1st, that's dedicated to EVs and battery-powered things for the outdoor space. Not necessarily overlanding, because I want to get into camping. I want to get into electric bikes. I want to get into battery backups and all this other stuff, like a community that's based around that. And so I got everything in place. It's just more about launching it now. And during the holidays, I'm not going to try to launch that right now because I don't have the bandwidth to do that. But get ready for that. That's going to be happening in the future. We're almost to the mud, and I'm excited. I think a lot of people still need to see what these EVs can do. Cybertruck actually came out, and they were talking about how they have a battery range extender. So it's a battery pack that they put in the bed of the truck that allows you to have an extra 100, 150 miles of range, which is amazing. And come to find out, Rivian has a patent for that. If Rivian told me that they can give me an extra 150 miles with all-terrain tires for an extra $10,000 to $15,000, yes, I would go buy it. Because one, I can remove it and put it back in at any time that I need it. Though I would have to set up something to be able to do that once I actually got it, at my house. And the way my garage is set up right now, I can barely fit this vehicle in the garage. So space is limited. That just means I need to buy a new house. Am I buying a new house right now in this market? Absolutely not. Almost 8% rate. Actually, it's down now. It's almost down to 7% rate, which is kind of nice. But to be able to have that kind of technology of being able to do a range extender, say you could stop at a service station saying, hey, I'm about to do an off-road or over the country trip. Can I get a range extender, like 1 or 2? Which could be awesome. Like you're able to get an extra, say 200, 300 miles out of your charge. That can set up so much better opportunities to actually charge where you need to or where you should. I think that's future. And actually, I think I missed the mud. We might actually have to turn around. I'm not using on X right now. I did miss it, so I'm gonna have to turn around. Or do I want to go explore that one spot that I was looking at? I don't know. I don't have too much more light. I found a turnaround spot not even 30 feet ahead of me. Is an R1T a good decision for you? That is a conversation you're going to have with yourself, because I can't make that for you. There's a lot of different factors in this vehicle that could be positive and could be negative. I get about 300 miles to the tank or to the charge. Is that enough for you? Is that not enough for you? I don't know. It works for me. It works for me for what I do, and I do about 200 miles a day in gas or in range. Sometimes in the summer, I might have to stop at a supercharger, and that's few and far between, because I can charge at night, charge it in overnight, and I'll have a full battery by the beginning of the morning. And if I am operating on all-purpose, that gives me about 288 miles. Not too shabby. Would I buy the R1T all over again? Yes and no. I kind of want an R1S. I love SUVs. SUVs and like a Forerunner and I are just like I say, it was damn near perfect. I have chickens, and I need to put hay in something. Could I have an old farm truck that allows me to do that? Yes, but I don't have an old farm truck. I did have an old farm truck, but I got rid of it. Gave it to my barber. He gave me a free haircut afterwards. Overall, I am very happy with this vehicle. There are those hiccups with the service department, which they are making more service departments out there. In fact, once I got service, they were like, hey, did you know about the Tukwila and Auburn service department? I'm like, yes, I did, but no one wanted to switch me. Like the customer service people, they didn't switch me. And they have mobile techs. One of the people who I go to the gym with is a mobile tech, and he was like, why didn't you just call us? I was like, I did, dude. He was like, that's weird, because I live here. I could have came out to your house. I was like, shucks. So one thing this vehicle does while you are in off-road and in the highest setting, it actually sets you to where you can only go 20 miles per hour. And on the forest roads, that's probably more than you will ever want to go. I mean, yeah, you can go faster, but there's no purpose of going faster. You don't know what's around the next corner. There could be a kid on a four-wheeler or something, and you run straight into him, and that would be bad. There are limitations with it being as high as it is. But that's besides the point. I have yet to get stuck in this vehicle. Has there been situations where I have thought that I was stuck? Not yet. The only time I ever got stuck in a vehicle so far, knock on wood, was in my Nissan Pathfinder? Yes, my Nissan Pathfinder, I got stuck. Probably like, you're not doing hardcore enough off-roading in order to test out that vehicle? Yeah, you're probably right. I do think that the future is promising with electric vehicle, specifically trucks. The Cybertruck is out now. The F-150 is out. The Silverado is going to be coming out soon. Dodge Ram is releasing almost a hybrid version. Like, it's all electric, but they have a gasoline engine on it. But the gasoline engine is not attached to the drivetrain, because what it does, it just charges up the battery pack. The battery pack can get you, I think they said 150 miles, but with the range, with a gasoline engine extender, gets you up to 600 miles, which that's kind of nice. I mean, for what it's doing, it's kind of nice, but how will the power work? I don't know. Will it suck with towing like the way this vehicle does? Like, it drops half with towing. Like, so if I do 280, it'll go down to 140 for towing, depending on what you're towing. It all depends. Have I towed? No. Am I going to tow? Nope. And I think I just went down a different road. We're gonna get lost. It's fine. This is okay. This vehicle helps me get out into the wild. I don't have range anxiety anymore. I'm not worried about that. And I'm not angry whenever I go fill up the gas tank anymore either. But one of the main hindrances that I had with thinking about even an electric vehicle is, like, so one of the negative thoughts that I always had with it, like, I don't believe in it. I don't see it working. I don't see it actually doing. But then the more and more I look, the more and more I see vehicles every single day. Like, you can't drive home without seeing like 100 Teslas. We are literally driving vehicles on battery packs when people say we don't believe in electric vehicles, but they're out here doing vehicle things. Is that proof of concept? Like, it's actually working? Like, we're actually going out into the snow. We're going out into the mud. We're going camping. We're doing things that this vehicle was built for. The whole community is out there doing things. Like, we got Charged Overland down in, I think, San Diego or somewhere in California. He's always out doing everything. He went with like Justin McBride just to show him what it can do, and he was impressed. Justin was impressed by the Rivian and how it can handle what they thought was supposed to be an easier trail. Ended up being a little bit more technical than what they thought. Could go on and on and on, but if you've reached this point, I am highly appreciative of you sticking around and hanging out with me for this day of adventure in Capitol Forest. I'm just trying to find these mud puddles, so that's going to be the bonus of you sticking around this long, because we need to find these mud puddles. And I think it's because I went down that one way where I started, and I needed to take a turn off before that, and I didn't. So we're going to go find that real quick, and then, yeah, I'll tell you my last little recap of this whole thing. Okay, this is the turnoff that I need. This goes around by newer forested areas and then drops us down to the power lines. Some people call this place the Puddles because it has puddles, but it's just an area that runs along the power lines that you're able to go to. And we've been getting a lot of rain lately, so I'm assuming that the puddles are going to be quite amazing. So yeah, let's go have fun. All right, we're here, and hopefully the roadway is still open. So that one's open. Is this one open? Yes! Still open. Let's go. Here goes the first one. It's not really, is it big? Oh, it's good enough. It just wasn't, just at an awkward angle, so it wouldn't get up above. This one might. This one might. I think this one will very well. Let's go. Well, not above. At times to where the water comes up to the windshield, but I guess not this time. This is the one to where it normally does something. Let's see. Oh, that's muddy. Oh, that's muddy. This is another section with a lot of the mud puddles. So let's go. We'll see what it looks like at the very end. Oh, that seems... that seems kind of deep. Oh, it is. I gotta get the drone up for this. Woohoo! Let's go. Actually, it's more water than mud right now. That's from, yeah. Is this car the right car for you? I don't know. Like I mentioned before. Is it the right car for me? Yes. Do I recommend getting it? It's up to you. Honestly, can you make it work? Yes. Do I want you to spend $90,000 for it? No. Go buy a gently used one. One with a little bit less miles than mine is only $72,000. Go buy that one. Okay. You still get a warranty. This thing has a 150-mile warranty on the motors and battery. That's a lot of miles. What is it? Like bumper to bumper is only 50,000 miles, and then 5 years, I think it is. But besides that, it's good. The company is growing. The stock plummeted, but is going back up again. They're going to be coming out with the R2 soon. I have high hopes for Rivian. So all in all, this purchase was an 8 out of 10, if I could put it into a number. There are some hiccups, but I am happy. Thank you guys for tuning in. Let me try to go see if I can get the drone action of this puddle now.